So first of all, really welcome everybody to this Learning and Development Executive Roundtable. I'm very honored that we have Sushil Barkur with us today, who will be our keynote speaker on the topic of gamification in learning and development. But let me have a few introductory words first, what this actually is. So you already saw the name, Learning and Development Executive Roundtable, and this should be a regular networking event for learning and development professionals. And this is powered by Blue Elephant Solutions. So what do we do, and what is this actually for? So who is the target group? If you are a high-level learning and development professional, you're right here. If you're a trainer or a coach, you're also right here. And even if you are in learning and development, a service provider, or you have technical tools, you're also right here. It shouldn't be a marketing pitch, but it can be, of course, a situation where you can share best practices and ideas. And that's really also the why. Why do we have this event? We want to foster the exchange between each other of ideas and best practices, always to a certain topic, and then create an international networking opportunity for you. How is this networking events structured? We always have a specific focus topic for each of the events. This one is focusing all around gamification in learning and development. We always have a keynote speech, also, of course, then related to the topic. And then a little bit depending on the number of participants, we either do one big round of introduction where each of you can quickly introduce yourself and what you're working on. If it's too many participants, we normally break out into 1 or 2 breakout rooms just to give a little bit more room for discussions. And don't need to be worried. There will be other opportunities where you then can also meet the other people again and again. And then in those breakout rooms, if there's time, then we will have also some best practice sharing, experiences sharing. If you have specific questions to this topic, just throw it into the group. Maybe the group has some ideas on how to do this, and you can have some discussions. But who's your host, and why are we doing this? Well, Blue Elephant Solutions, we are focusing actually on 3 verticals. We do consulting solutions for companies, we do software solutions and knowledge solutions. In consulting solutions, we focus on helping companies in their digital transformation. That does not necessarily need to be only learning, can also be other areas. The same is with AI enablement. So we're quite advanced with using AI to really augment and advance your processes, also in learning, but also in other spaces. And also gamification, and that's not only in the space of learning, but also gamifying normal processes really to help the engagement. Software solution just means we can help you project management, own developments, or develop for you. And knowledge solutions is one of the key areas where we have own products to help in the spaced repetition and making sure that the knowledge that once is learned is really applied. We do have selected references that I just show here. Some of them are from Singapore, some of them are from Asia, some of them are from India, some of them are from Europe, and they're in different areas. So some of them are just pure customers that are using our standard software. For others, we do individual software development and gamification development. And for others, we actually do joint case studies with the University of Mannheim, for example, analyzing the impact of those solutions. And our standard solutions are those 2, Knowledge Gym and Knowledge Empire. Knowledge Gym is what I call the Tinder of learning. It's very fast and very quick. And Knowledge Empire is a gamified version of this specifically for salespeople. And then, of course, there's some awards and recognitions. We're recognized as leaders in learning and development, digital transformation, global leaders in knowledge retention solutions, but also best digitalization and gamification consultancy this year. Good, but this was it with a little bit advertisement for our side. Now it's a really great pleasure for me to introduce to you guys Sushil Barkur. He's Associate Vice President for Learning and Development, organizational development, and the TM stands for team, not team management.
Talent management, yeah.
Exactly. Sorry for that. For Alchem Laboratories. And he is really an expert in result-oriented learning and development, has a ton of experience, over 20 years in the learning and experience space, is really expert when it comes to integrated talent management. So not only the learning and development, but also the organizational development and other parts. He was key to for Alchem Laboratories to win 3 times in a row the Great Place to Work, really based a lot on his impact. He's an expert in learning and development technologies, and of course he has training experience across India and Africa, and his real passion is to enable people on their journey to learning and development. And Sushil will today share in the next probably 20 minutes, 15 to 20 minutes, his experience on gamification and his take on this. Then we will have, after that, a short question and answer session, and then we will break out into different rooms and have time for in-depth discussions and sharing and networking topics. So having that said, I will give the approval to share screens. So Sushil, I'll stop sharing my screen and you feel free to take over. And the next 15 to 20 minutes are yours.
Thank you very much, Chris, for a crisp introduction, and good to know about the work which you and Blue Elephant Solutions are doing in the space of L&D. And good afternoon to all of you in the call. I'm very thankful to all of you because you have taken around 1 hour time from your busy schedule and joining from various parts of the world, where I'm joining from India. That is why I'm saying good afternoon. Maybe for someone it is good morning, and for someone it is good evening. And that is how the game of God runs in terms of the time zones. Likewise, today I am here, just wanted to share with you that gamification in learning and development, a little bit superficial knowledge kind of a thing in the first 5-6 slides, so which I wanted to share with you. And then I would like to share a case study experience with you, that how we have implemented gamification in Alchem learning and development. I think that will be much more useful for all the people, because theoretically each one of you who are in the call are quite curious and know various theoretical aspects of gamification. So I will not spend much time over there. If it is okay with everyone, shall I share my screen?
You can see your screen.
So here in gamification in L&D, correct, I want to bring a little bit historical thing about learning. Since the ages, learning is something where people have to put an effort. And look into our school, college, and other education systems. There, they have created this gamification aspect in their design itself, like conducting unit test, where the maximum marks are 10. And when the results are announced, the teacher says that the 10th number student, the last student has scored this much, and the excitement builds in, and the teacher announced at the last that the topmost student in the class has scored like this. So the building of that human psychology has been there for quite long. And then you see that when internet came into the picture and e-learning started becoming quite popular over a period of time, then learning and development professional like you and me, and we know that making adult learn is a difficult task. It is not easy one. Everybody knows that learning is important for the career growth, but when the opportunity for the learning is given, I'm sure that each one of you from learning and development side would be spending a lot of time in following up. And then we have to also tell people that it is good for your career. And people tell us, see, we know that it is good, but we do not have the time. And when the time crunch and other things starts coming in, we as an L&D expert and the strategist, we need to bring in that how we can bring more adherence to the learning and how we can make people use the tacit knowledge, correct, which comes from the training content to make the organization grow and succeed. And that is why you see that in last 2 years of time, the kind of disruption which we have seen, that actually equates to the 100 years of disruption. Because this COVID and other thing when it started happening, all of a sudden you see that adoption towards the digital learning has started coming up very fast. Everything has started going into the virtual. And that is the time you see that gamification started gaining importance, and all the L&D people, they were told that there are 3 important things are there. That number 1, that learners do not have the time to come and sit in the long duration program. Number 2, even if learners are going to the program, they find it difficult to retain the tacit knowledge which can be applied into the workplace. And third thing, that how we can motivate our employees so that they can always remain in the continuous learning, because nowadays skills every 2 years is getting out of the context. And when careers pathing is also becoming very diverse and different, then gamification in the L&D comes as a solution. And each one of you know that gamification works on in human psychology of being rewarded, recognized for an effort which you are putting in. And it is a process of adding a motivational element into the learning work framework and increases the user engagement. Because maybe 30 years back, people have that attention span of around 20 minutes. But because of that, so many changes in the environment, and a lot of, you see, the distractions in terms of mobile phone, smartphone, everything started coming in. The attention span has gone as low as your 6 minutes, and then it came down. Some people say that it is just like a golden fish like of attention span, that is 6 seconds only, right? So there are a lot of, you can say, that theoretical aspects into it, but ultimate thing is that to increase the user engagement, a sound game theory and the game mechanics is very important to bring into the learning and development. And if you simply put in, it is just putting the game like element into typically those content which are not considered as in games, right? And here if you see that these are the majorly 4 kind of gamification elements which are there, that is the badges, leaderboards, challenge between users, and awards and trading and gifting kind of a thing. A challenge or a goal that establishes that what a person needs to learn to accomplish to win, obstacles or the impediment kind of a thing in a game, and then what are the incentive and rewards one can get once he go through the game mechanics. And game rules also defines that what kind of the user interaction with the game which is happening. And very interesting point here, that one of the professor from Stanford University, Professor B.J. Fogg, right, he said that there are 3 elements that must converge in order for a change in behavior to occur. Because I personally believe, and a lot of the training, learning and development professionals, they also say that learning means that there has to be change in behavior. And when we talk about the change or the transformation in behavior, 3 things needs to converge together. Number 1, that motivation to do something. Number 2, that it should build some kind of an ability to carry out the task. And number 3, that it should trigger some kind of a cue to complete the action. It should generate a kind of habit formation in the people where this entire convergence of 3 things are required for changing the behavior, changing the behavior of a learner. And not only this, gamification also provides the instant and the consistent feedback. It is not like that after the training program, right, you are waiting for the assessment or your manager to give you the feedback. But gamification gives you an opportunity to get an instant and the consistent feedback. And it is said that when we are getting instant feedback, we have the opportunity to correct our course of actions immediately rather than waiting for somebody to give us the feedback. At the same time, in gamification, when we are challenging one another in a cohort kind of study in gamification, then it encourages our social connections as well. And it also helps in connecting to the company culture where we are working in an organization. Then you see, what are the areas where gamification can be used? Number one, foremost is your onboarding, isn't it? Not only the onboarding can be classified into three phases. One is the pre-onboarding, then onboarding, and the post-onboarding, that is your 30 days, 60 days, and 90 days. Gamification works tremendously well over here. Second one is the employee engagement. Third one is the sales training, because people who are always on the move to meet customer, they always are having the paucity of time. And in those cases, if our content is in a gamified form and micro-learning and the gamified form, people can learn immediately and they can utilize their learning immediately into the workplace. Compliance training, a very boring kind of training, but it has to be conducted because organizations are run by certain laws and other things. So compliance training can be made interesting by the use of this gamification. Like one example I would like to share, I do take care of not only your corporate sales and domestic part, but I also do take care of manufacturing learning. And in our pharma manufacturing, there are a lot of SOPs are there. Now in SOPs, when you onboard a person, you need to usually, in old system, you need to give him time that you have to go through 20 SOPs in 7 days period of time, and then the assessment will be there. But with the advent of gamification, your onboarding time also gets reduced. At the same time, retention levels are also high, because he goes through those SOPs, and in a gamified form, the assessment takes place. So he learns the badges, he is able to see his rank into the leaderboard. He is also able to challenge his other colleagues who are in the system to see that whether he knows better or other people also know better than him. And you see that use of gamification in the leadership training is of prime importance nowadays, because leadership is all about the soft skill behavior, and generally soft skill behavior are context based. So once the scenarios are created around the leadership behavior, and then gamification elements are built into it, then there is a lot of tendency that people can use those particular behavior in their day-to-day work. So these are the certain areas of gamification. And if you see, what is the value of gamification? As during the talk, I said that higher engagement of employees leading to the higher learning, retention, and the productivity. Number two, safe and the healthy environment where our employees feel motivated, safe to obtain the required skill set. Number three, that provide the instant feedback. And number four, it favors and facilitates the behavior change through the spaced repetition and the retrieval of the knowledge there. So these are the few things, correct, which I just wanted to share in terms of gamification. Now I would like to share with you that how we have brought in gamification in Alchem. And I think in between request to all the participants that wherever they feel like they have any question, I will be happy to answer that. Now you see that in Alchem, we are having our digital lab, which is known as your Alchepedia for the last 5 years. And initially we have started it as an e-learning platform, right? But over a period of time, we started building the gamification element over there. And you see that our sales onboarding completely takes place on our Alchepedia. And we have created various kind of APIs also here. And some 2 years back, we have got associated with one gamification company that is MasterU in India. And then we have integrated the things over here. Now, if you look upon this side, you can see that screen where you can see that how the challenges and the game mechanics are being built into and how it looks like. Like one of the learning activity snapshot, which I'm sharing with you, like we are a pharma sales organization where 24 divisions are there. And in this 24 division, around 12,000 sales force are working. Now for the sales force, one of the division I have taken here for an example, which is our metabolic division, which is mainly into the diabetology and cardiology sale. So recently we launched one a new kind of medication, which is known as your DPP-4 inhibitors. So this is how you see that our trainers, they have created the understanding of diabetes and the basics of DPP-4 inhibitors in a gamified form, right? So there the person is going through the basics, and then there are two challenges are there. And you see the outcome, you see that the 100% login was seen and 100% the course completion was also there, which was usually not possible with the self-paced e-learning modules. But once it is converted into the gamified form, this is how you see that the adoption and you see that the knowledge retention level also increases. And you see that this we have given that how people have started giving the correct response, and anyone who is giving a wrong response, immediately he gets an instant feedback, and then they get an opportunity to correct their answer after going through the content again. So here you see that 4 zones, they are talking about that what is the sum of correct attempts, what is the sum of the incorrect attempts, and the data is coming directly to the business, and business people are also able to go and connect with them and give them the advice that what are the things which needs to be corrected. Then you see the completion rate of 100% was achieved within 4 days period of time. And here that the analytics is so good that the trainer who is the coordinator for this entire course is getting every 1 hour the report whenever he wants to pull out the report. Then you see that this is the average time spent also you can find out from here, right? And you see that learners are able to complete the micro skill in 3 attempts average by spending only 2 minutes on each micro skill. Now the beauty is this, that this all people have done their course completion during their day's time work when they are waiting to meet the customer. So there is no need to call people for the Zoom call or call them into the classroom, but the things can be reinforced with the help of gamification. And this is how you see that when we have taken this gamification as a strategy, few aspects which we have looked upon, that everything cannot be gamified. The person needs to be very clear that what content he want to gamify, number 1. Number 2, does your gamification efforts are aligned with the business or not? If it is aligned with the business, then you need to be very clear at the end of the gamified learning, what kind of the results are being expected from a person who has learned the skill. So that was also clarified. Third thing, in gamification, the content creation, if we are taking the content from an outside party, the turnaround time is largely depends upon 15 to 20 days, depending upon your association. So what we have done here, that we have identified a partner who can also certify our trainers on the content authoring tool of gamification. And once the internal trainer we are certified on the content authoring tool, our turnaround time has actually gone down to 1 day, because now the trainer who is a subject matter expert, he also knows that how to create the gamified content. And once he started implementing this, now every month around for 24 divisions of ours, every month 24 new contents are created, gamified content, with an adoption rate of around 95 to 96%. And another point here, that as I said, that the strategy needs to be very clear that through gamification, what kind of the outcome results you want to achieve. Just to share an example, like this is the product which we are talking about, the special one. This was the product which was launched last year. Correct. The name of the product is Dapanon, which is mainly used for the management of diabetes. In the very first year of launch, it has become 25 crore brand for us, because people are able to use the learning in engaging the customer inside the clinic. Not only that, For the entire Indian pharma industry, it is now featuring in the top 20 brands launched in the last year. So this is how, correct, I tried to just share with you that what is my experience of gamification and how I see gamification.
Right, thank you so much. I have a slide with questions written on it, but maybe, Sushil, I leave your PowerPoint presentation on for a while if there's any questions. So we have like 5 minutes. If there's any questions from the audience, please just unmute yourself and feel free to ask questions. Anybody dares to be the first one?
Yeah. Happy to interact with all of you, and yeah.
So I see Suprit has a question. Suprit, please.
Hi, Mr. Sushil. It was an excellent insights from you. I am very excited about this particular topic. So I wanted to understand from you is that have you identified which element of in the gamification is giving you the results when it comes to from the learner's point of view? If you could help me understand that, and it would be very easy for us to maybe take this point into consideration and design our strategy for with respect to the gamification.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Suprit, for asking this question. Actually, it is not one, but there are 3 elements which are neck to neck, which is increasing the engagement of the learner there. One is the badges which they get, correct, after the completion. And you see that in the badges also, we are not only keeping that the highest score over there, but the person who has completed the task in the fastest manner. Right. Another thing is that we are also giving them the points in the leaderboard, which is being collected over a 3 months period of time. And when the sales meetings are taking place, then the person who is having the highest score in that particular zone, he has been rewarded over there. And the third one is that people are having the online certificates also after the completion of the event, and they can post these certificates, correct, online in the social media. So these are the few things which are increasing the engagement of the learners. Hope that answers your question, Suprit.
Yes, I think reward and recognition is one of the aspects. Anything with respect to the user interface or maybe the user experience which you have identified?
See, while we were designing it with our vendor, Masterio, correct, we were very clear in our strategy that we want the instructions very easy to follow. At the same time, it has to be single click kind of a thing, that there should not be more than 2 clicks for reaching to any game.
Okay. So, so convenience or ease of usage of the platform.
Okay. Yes.
Great. Thank you so much, Mr. Sushil. Thank you.
Can I come in, sir?
Yes.
This is Sanjeev.
Yes, Sanjeev.
Yeah, hello, good evening to you once again.
This
is Sanjeev Chadda from Zydus. I just want to know the vendor which you hired, have you taken the product, whatever is given by them, or you have told them to customize the thing as per the requirement or the need of the organization as such? From your
Sanjeev, see what happens now that the platform is there, and if you are having a very good vendor, they keep on adding the elements into it, right? And the customization is actually, it is the subject matter expert who does the customization of the content basically, right? And while selecting any vendor, while selecting any vendor, correct, there are few things are there that first you need to see that how progressive he is, means how much he knows about that what is happening in the world of gamification. Because nowadays you see in the gamification, if you bring in the AI element, isn't it, it becomes a unique thing. And now you see that metaverse AR VR is also coming into the picture. I'm yet to see that combining all this 3 additional element, how the gamification would look like.
or any mock kind of thing was done at your end to sensitize the field force before you actually rolled out the things to the people?
Yeah, Sanjay, you're now talking about that how we have done the execution or the implementation of this gamification part. Yes.
Exactly.
Yeah. See, I generally follow a top to bottom approach. Right. So even before going for the platform, we took around 6 months time to convince the top. It should not look like that it is the L&D initiative, right? Because as in gamification also we say now that reward and the recognition, right? So unless the sales force and the top management feels like that this is their initiative, the internal sabotage also may happen for that. So the top to bottom approach I have taken. Yeah.
So the last one. Is it somewhere at the part of the just to ensure the compliance of the quality as well as the quantity of the things? Is it somewhere the part of the internal assessment system also as a part of KRAs or something?
No. See, because see, as an L&D strategist, I am never been an advocate of forced learning. Correct. So despite not having this learning in part of their KRA, we are having an adoption rate is of around 95 to 96%. Because learning is something, correct, which needs to come from within.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Really nice talking to you. Thank you.
Also one question.
Here on this side.
No, Kiran, please go ahead.
Nice to see you.
Hi, Kiran. I still remember we met some time back, right?
In the LPC.
Yeah, Krish, if you don't mind, can I have my cup of tea as well?
Sure, of course. Please. Kiran, do you have a question?
Yeah, I do have a question. The first question is that the content which appeared, whatever you have shared, it appeared that it was sort of a technical e-learning, like maybe on brands, on scientific knowledge, and for plant and locations, their SOPs, which is all technical, right? So was the content made by the internal trainers or it was given by the gamifiers?
It is made by us only because my people are certified on the content authoring tool of this gamified learning. Second part, correct, it is not only the technical content. Our entire selling skill is in the gamified form, right? Even our all MDPs, first time manager, and then you have that manager's manager program, everything is in a gamified form.
So that because was my helps. Actually, do we have an application in the behavioral format also?
Always. In fact, for the behavioral training, gamification works very well. Only thing is that you need to strategize that what kind of the learning you want to reinforce, whether you want it to be a scenario based, whether you want it to be branching based. So those kind of things you need to actually strategize.
So it will be role play based sort of?
Role play can also be done, but it will be more of a, you see that choices which will come to the user, and once he is making a choice, then another set of questions will start coming in. Then that is why I was talking about if an AI engine is also incorporated into the algorithm, then it will become a huge, you can say, success for the product.
If you do not mind, could you give me a brief insight of anywhere in MDP, any one example?
Yeah, not one example. There are plenty of examples out there. Like recently, we have done this Discover the Leader Within. This is our Manager's Manager program in the month of March recently, if you're talking about. So there you see that we have dwelt upon the 5 mindsets of a manager leader. And in one of the mindset is your self-reflection, that the reflective mindset. In the reflective mindset, when we came to the time management kind of a thing. So what we have done in our gamified platform, the flashcards are there. So we have put all the summaries of the session in the flashcard. Right. So once the person is going through the flashcard, after 3 flashcards, we have put a game over there, like true and false. Then you're shooting one. Then once this complete module is getting completed, Then we have put the car game over there, where the questions are coming and that the car is with the gyroscope, the car is moving and the answers are coming there. Right. So whenever he is choosing an answer, if the answer is correct, he is getting the marks over there. And once the people have stopped playing this game over a period of 1 day, then their names are appearing on the leaderboard, right? And their scores are also coming there. And that is why you see that we kept this game open for around 1 month period of time. And around 90 managers across the country were there. They played the game for 10 times. So that was the thing.
So is it more useful for a follow-up MDP, or the whole MDP can be designed?
This can be used for both. It can be used as the pre-program also. During the program also, you can build in various kind of, you can say, reinforcement of the session. And the post-program, it definitely is very useful.
Thank you so much. Thanks a lot.
Thanks.
I hear a little bit, there will be a separate session between you two on those topics. I would say, Prabhat, maybe you have the last question for this round, and then we go to the networking event where you will also still have some time to network and ask other questions. So Prabhat, please go ahead.
Thank you, Chris, and thanks, Sushil, for a very insightful session. Yeah, I'm Prabhat. I work for Danone, and I take care of the learning and capability for India and Southeast Asia. And I was quite impressed with your presentation. One query that I had is subsequent to, you mentioned that you had your internal trainers do the content development part.
Right.
What I wanted to understand is, let's say, for example, when we have gamification based skill sessions or soft skill sessions, are these modules editable? I mean, once you create, can they be edited internally by your trainers, making extensions, etc.? Is that possible?
Yes. See, once the content authoring tool is with you, correct, you can do anything. You can do the editing also afterwards. Suppose, or you may also go for the version 1, version 2 kind of a thing, right? And if you have done the editing, you can easily remove the previous one and you can put the latest one there for the publishing.
Thanks for clarifying that. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Prabhat.
Great.
Thanks, Chris.
Very, very good. Very interesting, all those topics. I noted down actually your certification program for the trainers to create this content, which I think is super interesting. We actually should also have a call on this topic because we're currently working on an AI to automatically generate this content out of a document and presentation. I think that could really be a time saver for you. But okay, let me quickly go back to the presentation. And so the next session will be about 20 minutes. It will be the networking breakout sessions. I prepared 3 rooms and we're roughly 8 to 10 participants in each room. So you have around 1 to 2 minutes each to quickly introduce yourself, share a little bit about yourself. Please keep your answers short. If you present or share something, somebody asks you something, don't make another keynote speech out of it, but keep it short and maybe connect after the call and share some more insights on this. So please allow everybody to share a little bit and to get to know each other. The format for this one is very simple, and we have assigned people that will moderate in those breakout sessions. As an idea, you can share your name, your position, what are you working as, which company are you working in, what is the location that you're working in, any interesting current projects you're focusing on in the L&D space, what is your experience specifically to gamification, are there any tips and tricks when it comes to gamification that is worth sharing, and are there any questions that you have to the group around gamification on, that maybe somebody else has an answer to or an idea. So what I have done is I've created 3 breakout rooms with 8 people each. I tried to cluster them a little bit by region, but we have so many colleagues from India joining. So sorry, I distributed you also to the Europe and to the Asia Pacific room. I'm gonna open the rooms. Everybody is assigned automatically, but you also have the freedom to move into another room, but I would not recommend that. I would rather recommend to join next meeting again and then get to know other people. So I'm going to open the rooms, and then everybody will be assigned automatically, and you have about 20 minutes networking time. If you want to take longer, you can take longer. We will not come back together. I will leave the call maybe open for another 10 minutes or 20 minutes after the hour, so until the last ones are done.